I am Brian.
I am Julius.
This is the Ascendant Project. The mission of the Ascendant Project is to explore the political positions in individuals. A contributor writes a 750-word article and then gets interviewed.
The purpose of the interview is to bring out other views and hopefully life experiences that sent the author down the path to the position expressed.
Although some debate will undoubtedly occur, this is not intended to be a forum for debate, but rather a project to better explore the individual and the American experience as a whole.
All opinions and views expressed, written or verbal, are solely the ownership of the one who expressed them. The Ascendant Project does not hold or endorse any views or opinions.
The Crisis of Hope by Brian Smyers. You turn on the news, whether it be the TV, website, or podcast, and you find yourself immediately becoming depressed. The news just keeps getting worse and worse, and there is more uncertainty from the top, whether it be from the government, your employer, or family members. Politically, this is a high-stress time. When one considers all the assassination attempts over the years, starting with Gabby Giffords in 2011, through Charlie Kirk's assassination, it is clear we are in a sustained period of political violence that is only getting more intense with time. So why should anyone hope? Why not give up and let the violence continue? Why not give in to the logic that anyone who expresses an opinion or puts themselves out there to try to lead deserves to die? Obviously, because that's insane logic. We at the Ascendant Project choose to be a light in the darkness, and every listener needs to make the same choice as well. The purpose of this essay is to encourage everyone not to give up hope. It is also to provide the listener with a plan to make a difference in the world around them by first making a difference in themselves. The first step in this process, known as the change within, is to remember that people on the other side of the aisle, in the end, are people just like you. Conservatives and liberals have much in common. Both love this country. Both are willing to run to make a difference. The Republican Party has been the pro-business party and choose to make a path to make America better through helping businesses which allow more people to get employed and therefore paid. Democrats choose to help people directly and regulate business from abusing people via environmental damage, defective products, discrimination, or hoarding of wealth, or at least they used to. But businesses need people, and people need businesses. So both are going towards the same goal, one from the top down and the other from the bottom up. The second step is the Walt Whitman quote: "Be curious, not judgmental." If you start off a political discussion in judgment, it will immediately alienate whomever you're talking to. An example of this would be to say to a person on the left, "No kings? Don't they know we haven't had a king since 1776? Obviously, a lead-off statement like that would insinuate that anyone who participated in that protest was stupid. There is no curiosity, only judgment. A better start to the conversation would be, "I do not understand why people are marching in No Kings. What are their concerns?" Instead of judgments, you're asking questions to better understand people. A key component in that second step is to start any political conversation with empathy. When a person on the other side of the aisle is upset, listen. No human is perfect, and no political party is holy. They may have valid concerns that you are not aware of or may not be covered in your echo chamber. Empathy goes a long way to building respect. The third step is to develop an attitude of gratefulness. Be thankful for those around you. Help them when they need it. Understand that your friends are choosing to be in your life, and that is a wonderful thing, no matter their political affiliation. View your problems in social circles as an opportunity to grow as a human being. Understand that a feeling of loss means you love them still, so be willing to apologize as a tool of diplomacy. It isn't always important to win or be right. If you are thankful for them, you will appreciate their point of view. The fourth step is forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of the talking heads and politicians that drive you crazy. You may still yearn for accountability, but to be truly become powerful, you must forgive. Free yourself from the hate that binds you. When you free yourself from the negativity, you become more effective and more powerful. The last step in working on yourself is looking inside yourself and finding something unique and original that is good and give it to the world. Make a contribution, no matter how small. It doesn't matter if you succeed on a large scale or only affect your friends, but contribute. You have influence, if not over great things, then the small things in the lives of those around you. Once you have worked on yourself enough, take a look at the world around you. You will see through the hate, and all you will see is need. You will find that in the end, political fighting is about resources and control. Many of us have not evolved past fighting over the watering hole. You want to get in the game and make a difference, and there will be truths that will be revealed that you did not see as clearly as before. You will want to remind the world of these truths. The first truth is that you are in charge of you, not your social media feed, not the talking heads on TV, not angry podcasters, not even your employer, because you sell your employer your time. Not an assassin's bullet who killed someone you listen to, and not the opposing political party. You are the person in charge of your life, so change your algorithm. My wife reports every ad she sees, and it has done wonders to improve her feed. Second, you are important. Your voice is important. Your vote is important. You have more sway than you realize. The last 3 presidential elections have come down to a few votes in a few states. In 2000, it came down to just a few hundred votes in Miami-Dade County. You matter. Third, because you matter, everyone is fighting for your attention. So unplug. Turn off the phone for a few hours once a week. Go camping where there is no signal. Reset. Remember that your best friend needs to be you. Get introspective. Get meditative. Find your wisdom from within. Unleash what the Quakers call the inner Christ. And that's small c. Finally, understand that the present is tomorrow's history. Bad people make history, leading us out of good times and into darker ones. Good people make history, leading us out of bad times into better ones. Make a difference. Now is your time. History is not written when things are easy. Show the world what you are made of. With empathy in your heart, your stance centered on the rock of your integrity, shape tomorrow. Write that letter to your congressman. Talk to your friend about a concern you have with their worldview, and listen. Go to a protest held by someone across the aisle and ask questions. Volunteer for a campaign. Be an election judge. Let your voice be known through your mouth, through your hands, and through your feet. And let your love be known through your ears. When this podcast began, in the episode and article Rising Through Turmoil, I drew a parallel to the current political environment and my medical issues going on with my eye. Here we are, 20 plus episodes later, and I stand by my analogy. Currently, the prognosis of my eye is getting darker, and the probability I will have anything resembling normal vision is highly doubtful. I said then that has allowed me to discover strength to overcome obstacles in my life I didn't think I had. I also mentioned others had told me that I'd become an inspiration of sorts to them. I am humbled by that, and as a result, I am reminded of a couple things. The first is William Barber II. Strength and moral authority in spirit is amplified by his limp, as demonstrated in the Democratic National Convention of 2016. In this speech, he argues with thunderous voice that the best way to strengthen our democracy is to love one another, no matter the background of the person. For any Christians out there, I've heard it said that you only love God as much as the person you love the least. The second thing I'm reminded of is a scene from the 3rd season of Ted Lasso, where Houseboat Guy is talking to Rebecca. And he said something along the lines of, "That's when I realized my divorce didn't happen to me. It happened for me." I want my tribulations with my eye to make me a better, more effective person. I want this trauma to free me from things that hold me back in life. Likewise, I want the trials that this nation is currently going through to make us a better people. I disagree with the statement, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Our traumas only make us stronger if we learn to draw strength from how we face life after those traumas. But how we face life is a decision. I will end with this quote from the movie Kingdom of Heaven, spoken by the leprous king. "When I was 16, I won a great victory. I felt in that moment I would live to be 100. Now I know I shall not see 30. None of us know our end really, or what hand will guide us there. A king may move a man, a father may claim a son, but that man can also move himself, and only then does a man truly begin his own game. Remember that howsoever you are played or by whom, your soul is in your keeping alone, even though those who presume to play you be kings or men of power. When you stand before God, you cannot say, 'But I was told by others to do thus,' or that virtue was not convenient at the time. This will not suffice. Remember that." I implore the reader and the listener, center yourself and begin your own game. Why give up hope when you can change the world inside of you and then impact the world around you? You can be the light in the darkness. You just have to commit to do the work. Julius.
Brian. Ding ding.
I
Do I get to
guess,
say
yeah.
that this time?
Yeah, I guess you can say that this
All
time.
right. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Doing pretty good. I'm kind of curious how sound editing is going to go on this one with
Yeah, with the fair going in the
fair
background.
going on just a block away.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's not much we can really do about that, and this is the best space we have right now. So
Yes. Nonetheless, it was a great article. I really liked this essay. There's a lot in here. It's a very
yes, there is.
So my 7th grade social studies teacher used to describe everything as beefy. Like, this is a very beefy essay.
Wow.
I will say.
So is there a lot of gristle in this, or is it like prime meat here?
Yeah. No, it's a good amount of fat and meat. You know, the savory. There's a lot of a lot of things to savor.
We're in times where that require a lot of work.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so this is kind of sort of blueprint on how to get through it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
So if you were to summarize your essay, is that how you would summarize it?
pretty much, I mean, I don't think anybody on either side of the political aisle, I'm not even sure that that term even is really good anymore.
Hmm.
Just because you're conservative doesn't necessarily mean you're for MAGA. And so I'm not really sure if the term sides of the political aisle really apply, but so much of the country, and I think even MAGA isn't really happy with how things are in the country and how and with the news today. And as a result, I kind of felt that we really kind of needed to start over and kind of understand that if you really want to change the world, you got to look within.
Yeah.
And once you've really grown as a human being, then you can start making a difference in the lives of those around you.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
Well said. So you start off with this quote: "Conservatism and liberals have much in common. Both love this country."
Yes.
And there was a little bit more at the end, but I thought that was a good summary. So, would you say that that is a different kind of love? Do we love the same ways?
Well, hmm, I think both are patriotic, and I
Mm,
say that with an asterisk, um, because nationalism is not patriotism, in my opinion.
hmm.
I do believe there is a difference.
Okay.
Um, nationalism, I feel, says the nation needs to subscribe to my point of view, and I'm going to push my point of view all over this nation. And if you don't have subscribed to this point of view, you're against the nation. Kind of like how spiritually abusive Christians might say, "Your problem's not with me; it's with God."
Hmm.
You know, and and that's not really the way it is. I mean, I feel to a large extent that the country is not a father or a mother figure. It's not the fatherland or a motherland. I really feel like the country is more like a child, and we're trying to decide how to raise it.
Hmm. Okay. I like
You
that
know,
perspective. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you wouldn't really say that there's a difference in how we love the country, but is there a difference in how we express that love?
Yes, there is, and I feel like there's a difference in parenting. If I continue with the analogy,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So who's the mother and who's the father and who's the surrogate and
Chances
who's the
are,
nanny?
I mean, if I go with stereotypical roles,
Yeah.
um,
You don't
I
you
would
don't actually need to
probably,
be put on record for this, by the way.
yeah.
I'm just
Well, I mean,
tossing it out as a joke.
yeah, I'd probably go conservative as father and liberals as mom,
Okay. Okay.
because moms tend to teach their kids empathy better than dads, and dads, teach you how the world is and how to survive in it.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Yeah.
you need both.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do.
So, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think that's a good distinction.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to figure out how to transition into this question, but you had you had gone into the No Kings protest and some of
Yes.
the pushback that's gotten, and there's a lot of people. We saw it, I think, on our No Kings coverage for the last protest.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, and the insults are the same.
right. So just in your own words, what do you think the No Kings protest is about?
Oh, well, there are definitely some concerns. I mean, people see, whether or not you agree with these interpretation of events or not, there are those who just take a look at, the National Guard being activated on city streets, whether it be DC or today during this recording, it was shown that Trump is sending the National Guard to Portland,
Hmm.
and sending them to places where the local leaders and the governors are not asking for them. So they're kind of going against, you know, what sovereignty states have. Um, which is ironic because, for a party that talked about states' rights so much, you know, this that concept's totally out the window right now, which is why I think MAGA is its own thing. But
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that's probably fair to
yeah,
say. And yeah, definitely. I think I talked just a little bit about this with Susan.
yeah,
When I said it, in the '90s, the Democratic Party was not the party of pro-immigration.
right,
It became that after the fact.
yep.
There was kind of a niche opened. And do
They
you
were also
think
the tariff party.
right? Right. Do
You
you
know,
think
fair
we're
trade, not
in
free
a
trade. That was on the
right?
left.
Yep. Do you think that we're in a similar sort of political restructuring, if you will?
Well, I mean, political parties, and this is what people really need to understand, they are organized as a means to gaining power. They are
Mhm.
not. They are not on any idealistic platform that they will stand on 50 years from now.
Right.
They will choose whatever issues they think will lead them into power in government. That's really their purpose. It's not. It's not necessarily to have an idealistic vision that is static.
Right.
So things like in the 1800s, Republicans were pro business and they were definitely all about with Reconstruction and trying to push forward and help minorities. Whereas now they're not trying to help minorities; they're trying to take out DEI and all of that. And it isn't necessarily an indictment on the corruption of republicanism so much as it is shown that those ideals, for whatever reason, the Republican Party felt weren't winners, and so therefore they try different arguments to get more people into their party so they can get in the White House and Congress.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, there's also this concept we've heard recently of the big tent party,
Yes.
right? Um, is there merit to that?
I believe there is. I know Democrats have tried to be a big tent party. I think a lot of times what we see is that with a big tent party comes a big range of ideas.
Right.
And as a result, it's easy to fracture. And it's easy also to keep people from voting.
Yeah.
Because
It's easy to pick people off.
Yeah.
It's difficult to organize.
Because if you have a party that's trying to please everyone, there's going to be a section of voters that's just not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So, and if they aren't happy with the other party either, they're just going to be independent at that point, which means they're no longer having say in the candidates you're putting forth in, like you're putting forth in, that you're setting forth for the
Dovetails.
Dovetails. Yeah, for the nominations and run in the general, which at that point then means less quality candidates. So I believe a big tent party is it has two sides to the edge. It kind of weakens you on one hand and strengthens you on the other. But yeah, it should theoretically make more moderate candidates.
Theoretically, sure.
But if people stay home, then you throw in
notice that.
gerrymandering.
Yeah, I think the last statistic I saw, the independents for the first time out, like the population of independents for the first time exceeded both the Republican and Democratic, like on a 1-to-1 basis, which I think is interesting. And certainly indicates some disenfranchisement.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And because you have the Republican Party, conservatives have been taken over by MAGA. So a lot of conservatives in the Republican Party aren't happy with where the Republican Party is. And then on the left, if you're trying to be a big tent party, you're not necessarily going to be doing what's best for everyone, because there are going to be disagreements with that, and you got to choose your stands, and then that disaffects people too.
Right.
All the more reason for 4, 5, 6, 7 parties.
Yeah. Fair enough. I know that's not really what your essay is about, so I
No,
don't want to dig into that
that's
too much
season
more.
2.
Right. Right. But you do go into like so many other like great concepts and great thoughts about how we each should behave as individuals. So in what ways can one be thankful of those or to those on the other side of the political spectrum?
Oh, accountability.
Yeah.
I mean, it's those friends that you have on the other side of the political spectrum. They're the ones who are busting through your echo chamber.
Hmm.
It's you're going to be. I mean, because of the algorithms, which I mentioned later on.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
You
gonna get to
know,
that too. Yeah,
you're
I
pretty
liked what you said
sealed
there.
in an environment of confirmation bias. So, with those friends on the other side of the political aisle that see the world differently, if you value them, you might be able to like take another look at your own perspectives and try to see the world how they see it just for a moment. Not you don't have to necessarily say, "Well, I'm a conservative now" or "I'm a liberal now," but hey, on this issue, they have a point, and maybe I should incorporate that into my point of view as well, without necessarily having to change your overall point of view. But you can at least change it on that point, because if that's their concern, that puts you on the road to a better opinion, or if you are a policymaker, a better policy.
Yeah, fair enough. So when you say you do kind of bring up the this side or that side. How can we be thankful to those who consider themselves libertarians or socialists or green or any of these we'll say third ways.
Oh, I'm pretty thankful for the Cato Institute. They're libertarian. They've put out a study on political violence, and which shows it's actually more right wing than left wing. So, and since I'm on the left, I can use that as a talking point if I get into a debate on that, because as a libertarian, therefore pretty much on the right. So it should be a source that my conservative friends should respect. So I mean, it's good to check in every now and then um, with institutions on the other side, just to see what their platforms and what their research is doing right now. Just to color your own perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at this point in your essay where you start talking about being thankful, being grateful, you know, uh I think if I were to summarize just the next few paragraphs of your essay, it would be, the voyage of self-discovery,
Yes,
so to speak, and learning
yes,
learning about different perspectives, and not necessarily learning about like, oh, now like you've convinced me of this. I think I usually think of it as I've discovered this new thing about myself.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you gotta. We live in a very, very reactive world, especially politically.
Hmm.
So it's very important to go into these political situations and political conversations centered. Understand, pretty much spiritually, if you will, you know, your role and your understand your relationship with yourself, and understand your relationship with those around you, and understand your place in the universe, and kind of be humble in all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll I think this may be a good point. Like as we're both kind of learning. I think I mentioned in my last essay some of the things I feel like I had learned about myself just throughout the over the course now of 19, 20 plus
Yeah.
episodes. Like, what are some things you think you've learned about yourself?
Oh, geez. Um, it's kind of hard to put into words,
Yeah, I
but
know.
I
I know.
I am so glad I've done this project.
Yeah.
Um, because I feel I've just grown.
Yeah.
I've grown all around.
Yeah.
It's this format that we have where we allow somebody to put out their point of view, and you listen first,
Hmm.
and and then just get interviewed about it, and I've gotten to know you a heck of a lot better, and you've gotten to know me a lot better.
Mhm.
And by asking me questions for an hour, it allows me to think of what I've written in my article in ways that I hadn't necessarily before. So, sometimes, when like with one of your articles, I was like, does this even matter anymore?
Yeah, I know.
But, I think that I was dealing with that with the DOE on that. But I mean, at the same point in time, your concepts were still sound, and your concepts were still there through that article, even if
You're making
Yeah.
me blush.
yeah. Yes, you're now an off-white.
Yep.
You're a cream.
Right. Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I think you're right. It is hard to put into words exactly how we've grown. I think I have noticed some things about how you interact with people on socials.
yeah,
You know, you definitely seem to have adopted the like I'm gonna have to walk the walk, talk the talk.
yeah. I try to. I still have bad days. I still every now and then just
Yeah, I mean, I
go
think that's
ballistic
fair.
on my Facebook, but
Yeah,
I think we all do that every now and then, and you know, it's all about forgiving yourself and forgiving others, and yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think that kind of like brings me to my next question. Like, you talked a little bit about accountability and forgiveness, and I'm gonna give you two questions because if I just give you one at a time, it'll seem like there's some bias here. But I just want to. It's two sides of the same coin. So, how do we move forward without accountability? Can we move forward without accountability? But also, how do we move forward without forgiveness?
yes.
Perfect.
I mean,
All right, nothing. Moving on.
I mean, we're never going to get the accountability that we really want. I mean, for instance, especially the accountability that I want for Trump. I feel the opportunity for that is kind of past. He's probably going to die in office of a cheeseburger, but
It'll be
with
great press
bacon
for
on it,
McDonald's for sure.
with bacon on it,
Right.
obviously. It'll be a double patty like at Five Guys,
Yeah.
but which is a great way to go.
If you have to, if you can pick,
if you can pick,
that wouldn't be
it's
the worst one.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's up there enough in age, and I just feel that that's probably going to be pretty natural outcome for him in the end. So I mean, I think he's going to escape the accountability that I want. And besides, with recent SCOTUS rulings, I don't think that he could be held accountable anymore.
Mhm.
So you have to kind of let those things go. I mean, you gotta almost forgive in advance with him. As much as I hate that, because and understand though that just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you don't remember.
Right.
So I might forgive Trump for doing what he's doing, but I also know what's coming next.
Right.
It doesn't mean he's going to change because I forgive him. I'm just a little peon with a podcast,
Right.
With 30 listeners or whatever. But I mean, it's I don't really matter, but how I view my life does matter, and how I view the world around me does matter to me.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think that's a really good way to, because like when you brought up my essay about the DOE, I get that that's a thing that I care about probably a lot more than most.
Yeah, but it was a great
Almost
essay.
all. Right, but it's like it's something that matters to me, and and I think you've said in other episodes how all politics is personal, right?
Yes.
And I think there's some of that coming through, but also like it's become apparent, I think, that your perspective has evolved, not really changed, but evolved,
and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching MSNBC or Fox or OAN or CNN or whatever. Your perspective's not really going to be evolving. It's just going to be changing according to the talking head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to do a little bit more. You got to look within, understand what do you say? How does that actually sit with you if somebody else did that? Like, for instance, like if Barack Obama had told a law firm that because I don't like your policies, you're not allowed to enter a federal building like Trump did via executive order.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have a problem with that if Obama did that?
I think the answer has to be yes.
Yeah, 100%. It's violating a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Not just freedom of speech, but representation.
Right.
And everything else. I mean, it's flat out wrong. But you gotta find out if what you're holding to be true and right, if the other side did that, would you be fine with it? Tribalism is so strong. And so it's kind of guarding against hypocrisy, if you will, which hypocrisy will probably come up again later, because I do hate hypocritic arguments, because you need to be able to evolve and change.
Yeah. And it's really difficult though to confront that, because so many people who can't see their own hypocrisy tend to self-describe as nuance.
Yeah.
Right? It's difficult to like get past that.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, like trying to hold people accountable to their own hypocrisy versus like forgiving that.
Yeah.
How do we it's like you can't move forward without forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I am reminded of Charlie Kirk's funeral.
Uh-huh.
You had Charlie Kirk's wife forgiving the shooter.
Right.
And then you had Trump up there saying, I totally disagree with that. I need to go after my political enemies.
Right.
Which is antithetical to, the teachings of Christ. And, it amazes me, how this is sort of ranty, but it amazes me how Trump won the evangelical vote while being everything that's not Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about tribalism right there. So, yeah, the power of tribalism makes you do stupid things, in my opinion.
Yes, but we also have to forgive ourselves. You mentioned that,
and I have to be very careful about my tribalism.
Yeah.
I mean, you did a very interesting thing by changing parties.
Mm-hmm.
Going from unaffiliated to affiliated.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
It still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Not the party that I chose, but just that I did it at all. But it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
For me, and that's
well, I do quote Kingdom of Heaven at the end of the article, and there's another quote in there saying, "Do you realize how much good you could do in the world by doing just a little evil?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, would you say, like, what do you say to the argument that there is a greater good, so to speak?
There is. And because we're human, I mean, I guess we kind of could do stuff like that. But the thing is, I don't think it's necessarily right. I mean, Roscoe Bartlett was gerrymandered out of his district. Was that wrong? 100%. Am I happy that I had Democratic representation after that? Yeah, I am. But it doesn't mean what happened was right.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. How can you hold yourself accountable to that, though? I'm not talking about. I know this seems like I'm being hypercritical of you,
Well,
but just
no.
as
I
a,
mean, it's necessary.
well, I mean
I mean,
the
I wrote the article, so I threw the gauntlet down. You got to answer it.
sure, sure, sure. But I mean, at the same time, though, the essay is really more. It's almost like an instruction manual
It is
of sorts. So
a flawed one, but yes.
maybe, I'll let the reader, or the listener decide about that, and maybe they can leave
I
a
mean,
comment.
working
Or,
on yourself and growing as a
yeah,
human being is done in more steps than
yeah,
what's done in this article.
sure.
I mean, this is like not even a Cliff's Notes. It's more like a Cliff Notes, you know.
Or maybe just a cliff note.
Or a CL note. I don't know. Yeah,
I
Cliff
don't know.
Note. Yeah, Cliff Note.
I'm like, your
I'm like so
instinct
close to
was
saying
not to take the plural down to a singular, but to just cut cliff in half.
I came so close to saying a cuss word too.
I know. I was like, ah.
The button above the box, in case anybody's wondering.
Right. All right. So how does one? I guess what I'm really kind of like getting at is how does one develop the self awareness to know? Like you talk about the good that we have. We as individuals have to offer. Like, how does one develop the self awareness to know what good they have to offer?
That's really hard for me to say because, and the whole Myers Briggs personality type thing,
Yeah.
I'm an ENFP.
Yeah.
So I'm already feeling to begin with.
Hmm.
And I got the P, so I'm not a judger. So I really don't know how to break through somebody else's personality type who might be a T and not a J. Um, or, yeah, I mean, and I think whether you intuit or sense is probably also keys into it as well. If that pop psychology actually is a thing, but I mean, it's kind of in the way, the new
Right.
astrology.
Yes. Yes. Honestly, as a as a stoic, as a amateur mathematician, like that part of me says, "Oh, this is all just
Bullshit.
bullshit."
Yeah.
But I think if people find it helpful, then it's helpful.
I remember in church as a teenager, we took this personality test and told you what gifts you have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and the pastor asked me to do something like, I'm sorry, I don't have the gift of helps. Shrugged my shoulders at him.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that just means you need to work on it harder. Okay, Mark.
I mean,
yeah.
Right. But I mean, like that kind of like goes to my point exactly. Like, how do you develop that self-awareness? Is that just something that happens over time, or is that something that happens through the sharing with others, the connection?
How do you develop empathy? It's
yeah.
There's speaking of personality tests, there was a personality test out, I don't know if we still do or not, but that was used at one point in time with my employer. That one of the things that it tested for was accommodation and empathy, and we had a discussion about what the difference is between accommodation and empathy, and I told my boss, I was like, well, empathy you're kind of born with, and accommodation is beat into you.
Okay.
Which is really messed up, but yeah. But I mean, I was raised to always like put myself in somebody else's shoes. And if you do that regularly, it's kind of a first step in understanding how somebody else might feel. if the shoe was on the other foot. Um, which I guess kind of goes back into the early hypocrisy remarks I made about 5-10 minutes ago. But yeah, I mean it's I really don't know how to teach it to somebody who's lived their life without it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I did.
I think the best way to teach it,
Probably to unplug first and get introspective.
sure. Yeah. I think the best way you or I could teach it is to just exemplify it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I asked, like, how does one develop the self-awareness to know what good they have to offer? How does one develop the self-awareness to know that they still have control? Like, there's definitely like layers to this, but it's
There
really
is.
hard.
I mean, and it's like, how there's multiple universes or whatnot scientifically or whatever,
Yeah.
supposedly.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, two things can be true at once that are completely opposite. On one hand, control is an illusion.
Uh-huh.
You think you control everything, but you have control over your life. But how is that true if you don't have control over your environment? You still have to survive in your environment. So that means that your self-control has parameters to it.
Right. Right.
But you still have to make your choices. I mean, it's not to get religious again. Jeez. I've been getting more and more religious through this podcast. And if you're asking me how I've grown,
Yeah.
it's like I've become like less hostile to Christianity by talking about Christianity. But anyway, back to what I was about to say.
Yeah.
So in Christianity, one of the differences between various denominations is the talk about predestination. Whether or not people are predestined to go to heaven or predestined to go to hell. And it's kind of, I find that to be a very fatalistic view of the world.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, what's the point in saving somebody? Well, maybe you're destined to. Well, you're still then making a decision, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to go through life like things aren't destined,
Right.
even if there is predestination. So it's kind of a mental masturbation,
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That'll piss a bunch of Christians off right there. But I mean, it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant argument. It's just as relevant as how many angels are fitting on top of a pin. Who cares?
Right.
How does that really affect how you go through life? And for me, I know we still have to go through life making our own decisions, and part of those decisions that I've made is try to do the work on myself to where I can be more impactful to others and those around me in a positive way.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a long answer to get to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've also, I wouldn't necessarily say I've grown more religious, but certainly more spiritual.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Which is great because then I can still say the words like bullshit and mental masturbation.
Right. Yeah. Without feeling any guilt.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yeah. So, like kind of dovetailing into that. So much
Dovetails?
of our dovetails. so much of our politics, right now feels like it's just meant to make us feel small and insignificant. So how do you remember that you matter? You, the royal you, like how do you, and I mean you can speak from personal experience if you want, but like how do you remember that you matter, that you mean more than our politics or our echo chambers would suggest?
I know that I matter to those around me.
Mm.
I mean, it's I'm reminded of Keanu Reeves. I think he was it Jimmy Fallon or Colbert or somebody?
Yeah.
But he was asked, "What happens when you die?" And he simply replied, "I know I'll be missed." you know. So, which I thought was a great answer because he doesn't necessarily know his value in the universe if he'll continue on in some sort of spiritual conscious state after he passes. But he knows for a fact that he affects the people around him
Yeah.
and that he's important to the people around him.
Yeah.
And he understands he's a good enough person to where he will be missed. So he knows his worth in terms of that he's a good person, and he's confident in that.
Yeah.
Which says a lot in terms of self-worth. There is so much in the words, "I know I'll be missed." I mean, it's only 4 words, but there's so much meaning in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you know
6 words.
6 words. Yeah. I think as you say that, the thing I remember as a young 20-something Julius, learning about relativity and astrophysics and astronomy for the first times, and I remember there being a time where we were trying to answer this question of how fast the universe is accelerating, like the size of the universe, essentially.
Yeah.
How fast is the universe expanding? And the thought was at the time that it would eventually just kind of level off. Like we'd get to a kind of like maximum size. And there was a lot of research done into trying to demonstrate that. And eventually they learned that not only is the expansion of the universe not slowing down, but it's actually accelerating. So eventually,
to me, if I may go existential and going creative here, and I have no physics degree whatsoever, but to me, that tells me that what's outside the universe can only be considered like negative space. So,
sure,
because inertia would keep things constant, but the only way for the acceleration to keep going is if I mean, maybe that's where all their dark matter is at, or whatever. I don't know exactly what dark energy or dark matter actually is, but something negative that allows it to keep drawing and to help give the acceleration externally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're still studying, they're still learning, they're still trying to figure that out. But the fact still remains, like, and this is what is meant by
and if there's infinite universes,
well,
maybe there's a universe where Deadpool is real.
I hope so.
I hope so.
But this is what is meant by that the heat death of the universe.
Yeah.
Eventually it'll cool to nothing, and nothing will be able to to exist. Essentially, there won't be any more chemistry. There certainly won't be any more us.
Yeah.
And so it's easy in that, in your 20s to kind of be sucked into that sort of nihilistic viewpoint that nothing matters. It will, it'll all come to an end eventually. So
it's like the rapture.
So what's the, yeah. I mean, so it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But eventually you come to realize, I think, that for a brief period of time, you exist, and you matter to somebody.
Yeah.
And if there's any lesson to be drawn, is that for a brief period of time, the universe gets to look at itself, through our lens, so to speak.
Yep.
Even if it doesn't matter in the long run, it matters now to somebody, Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Just to add on to to what you were saying. So what are some examples of small contributions that people can make? Like we've come now to the self-help portion of our episode. So like what do you think a small contribution is? Like somebody's going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm going to make a difference. What's one small thing they could do?
What's one small thing somebody can do?
Yeah.
So I remember working at Borders back in the day.
Good old Borders.
Everything comes back to Borders.
Yep.
And a coworker of mine, he had something called a complaint bracelet.
Okay.
So every time he caught himself making a complaint, he switched the bracelet to the other arm.
Oh,
So that way he'd be more aware of how negative and how positive he is.
okay.
I mean, that's something small.
Yeah.
But it's
So how do I exercise the political complaint bracelet?
exactly, yeah, the same deal,
Yeah.
and the thing is it's not with a political complaint bracelet. I would think that's not necessarily, every time you say you hate something, whether it be Trump or a Democrat or whatever, switch hands. I mean, that might work, but I don't want something like that to necessarily censor your thoughts
Mm.
so much as it is to train you about your awareness. So I would think, just like a doctor wants to get an EKG of your heart while you're healthy so he can see the baseline of how you are. So that way he can see any problems as they develop. You kind of got to do that for yourself to a certain extent. You got to really understand and get to know yourself, who you are, and then work on the things to make yourself better. Things that you don't necessarily like. So, I mean, I don't want people to necessarily be trying to change their political points of view. Just get a better understanding of their approach. As far as something else creative that they can do, I would definitely, try to, well, it's not creative, but definitely make sure you have a diverse group of friends. Try to understand different perspectives, get involved in different things, stretch yourself.
Yeah.
Just try to grow as a person, some way, some shape or form.
Should I try to have a political conversation at work?
Ah,
Those always go well.
yeah. I mean, I try not to get into those because if I if I have one on somebody the other side of the political aisle and it gets really intense, I don't want to go for help anymore, and so I'm hurting myself professionally. So I think it's work is always hard.
Yeah.
Work is always hard.
But you have to do the work.
Yeah. I mean, and most businesses, they don't care your affiliation. I mean, there's one business that I go to quite regularly, and they list their clients on the wall. And there are organizations on that wall from the right and from the left, and they're political organizations. They don't care. They just
Right.
want to have a good relationship with people and make money. Because people are important, not necessarily
Right.
the positions they hold.
Yeah, absolutely.
That said, if somebody's like saying something completely outrageous, like slavery should be back, yeah, you're out of my
Right.
life, buddy.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, you got to have lines, you got to have standards, and you got to make sure you're not being poisoned.
Sure.
For me, my creative thing was this podcast.
Uh-huh.
Because I want to get to know different points of view, and I want to respect people who have them. And it was also really kind of cool to get my mom in on it a couple times and everything else. So it really helped. It didn't change it, but it just cemented the difference in relationship from child and mom to adult, one of mutual respect.
I think that's always an important experience to have.
Yeah.
If you can have it.
100%.
Yeah.
Because there's so much projection, even as an adult.
Yeah, definitely.
Onto your parents.
Yep.
It's totally unfair, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say 100%, but maybe 90%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, are we on time?
Time, we are currently at 48 minutes.
Okay. All right.
How far are you?
I got your thing, and then I'm doing my thing.
Well, I mean, how many
How many more questions?
questions you got?
I got one more for you, and then I'm doing my thing.
Okay.
All right. So what's your one? What's your one takeaway? What do you hope people will take from this?
You can't change the world without changing yourself.
Okay.
So, we didn't talk about it too much, but, get introspective. Go ahead, work on yourself, learn to trust your own judgment as well. So, but bring out what Quakers call the inner Christ with a small c.
Actually, can you explain that more? I'm not familiar with this concept.
Okay, so, and this was so important to me, and I was only with Quakers for like a year or two, but it was a very influential time. So growing up, I went to a lot of different churches, a lot of charismatic churches, some Baptist churches, and there's always the altar call. So you're always on your knees, and there was always a cycle of repentance, giving your life to Christ again, asking for forgiveness. And for me, I never learned to trust myself. They keep asking you to invite Christ into your heart. But it never really gets beyond that, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, they have their Bible studies and all that, which give a perspective on how to go through life. And for me, Christianity is very, and I'm pointing towards my head, it's very intellectual. It's very upstairs. I need something with my feet. I need something with my action. I need a faith there. I can talk theory if you want. Theory is great. I can prove absolute truth on a 32-ounce IBC and a 6-foot pixie stick. But in the end, it's just talk. It's like it's the mental masturbation of predestination. In the end, how does that really affect anyone? What good does it really do? My time with the Quakers, we read a couple Quaker books outside of meeting, and they don't call it church, they call it meeting. So you had meeting for worship, and to help organize and help run the meeting, you had the meeting for business, and so they do it that way. So it's very, you're coming together in everything.
Right.
Just in the terminology. And so, during the book study, they, one of the things that, I think George Fox is his name, he talked about the inner Christ. And for me, that was very freeing because, most Protestants talk about walking with God, but they never really teach you how to because you're always on your knees. For me, it allowed me to, yes, I invited Christ into my heart. If I have Christ in my heart, maybe I should start trusting my own judgment. And that's what kind of broke me out of the thing. It isn't self-righteous. It's just understanding that, God made me. He created me. I shouldn't necessarily be as hard on myself and be so overly analytical against myself to where I'm constantly questioning if I'm good to the point of indecision and paralysis in the world.
Gotcha. So
for me, bringing out the inner Christ came through introspection about that and learning to trust myself during introspection.
Gotcha.
So I think that's really what that paragraph is for me.
Gotcha.
Huh. Yeah. See, once again, I'm talking about Christianity.
In fairness, I brought it up.
Yeah.
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 Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. So
my takeaway is get introspective.
Yeah.
Try to grow some empathy while you're being introspective and go forth and do something creative and good to make a difference.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Here.
Yeah.
All right. So now we come to the final, my final addition.
Okay.
And
Is it going to be mental masturbation or?
well, don't get ahead of me. This is my time. so we are here now. This is essay 19. I know it's not episode 19, but right? Is that right?
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely into the 20s. I think this is going to be this might be 24, but let me see where this
essay
one's
24 or episode 20. I think this is episode 24.
Yeah, probably episode 24. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know we're gonna have our season review episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That'll be the last of the season.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to bring up the spiritual circle jerk.
The spiritual circle jerk. The spiritual circle jerk and, and mental masturbation.
You have to work that in at least twice.
Oh my gosh. The spiritual circle jerk.
The spiritual circle jerk and the mental masturbation.
I'm going to have to review where I came up with that. Do you remember what essay I came up with that in?
I have no idea.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to have to upload every episode to Riverside.
I mean, we both
to get it transcribed so I can search them for spiritual circle jerk. That's obviously an interview because...
Yeah. Yep. So that's your task. That's your task.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Without giving away too much for that episode. What if you could summarize the season in one word? In a one animal. What animal would it be?
You went with the animal. The word was going to be growth, but animal?
Yeah.
Okay, Barbara Walters. I don't know. I mean, it's I kind of want to like say a cat.
Yeah. You and your cats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just because you win over cats over time.
We're talking felines, domesticated. Yes. Okay.
Domesticated,
not like large.
Not lions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. There's no lion around here. We're all truthful.
So
there you go. There you go.
It took me a second, but I got it.
You a second.
I caught what you put down.
Yeah. But I had to give you a second.
Yeah.
But you got it. But yeah, I mean, like house cats, you kind of got to earn their trust and all that. And so I kind of feel like this podcast has kind of like sort of done that over time,
Yeah. So would you say we're the scratching post of political ideas or the litter box?
Probably the litter box. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'll leave it at that as a preview.
That should be our slogan. The litter box of political thought.
Politics, yeah.
We could probably get so many more clicks with that too.
Yeah. I'm sure ChatGPT or something could come up with a nice diagram.
I'm sure I could probably put a letterbox underneath the donkey and the elephant.
There you go. Yep.
Yep. All right.
Well, that's all I got there, buddy.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. So, please like, comments, click, reach out to us. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong, because we are the Ascendant Project and we need your feedback.
Yep.
So,
and we are preparing for season 2. If you want to contribute, we would love to have you.
100%. 100%. Most of our, make sure it's, keep it positive, find something good within you and contribute it to the world. So find something good within you to write about that you feel the world needs. Write about it. 750 words.
It sounds like it's a lot. It's really not that much.
It really isn't. We started off doing 750 and the arguments at the time was that that's too long. And now Julius and I are writing and
pretty
we can't
frequently go
around 1,700 words.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's because of the introspection. You're growing and you understand the need for nuance and the less need for absolutes with political thought. So yeah, find something good within you, contribute to us. Tell a friend about this podcast. By all means, and like I said, give us feedback.
Yeah.
Give us feedback. We are found on Spotify. We are found on Pocket Casts. We are found on Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
But come to the website, www.theascendantproject.com. And yeah, connect.
Yep.
We want to build a community here. So, and a lot of that's dependent on you all. So, anything else?
That's all.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Cool. Well, everybody have a great weekend.
Yes.
In a couple of weeks, and this episode will be airing on October 23rd, and the last episode should be airing November 6th. So, yep.
Good times.
And then we are hoping to start back up after that. And hopefully the current thinking is that the first release will wind up being March 5th, 2026.
Right.
So, but let us know. Let us know if you want to contribute.
Yeah.
That's about it. You all take care.
Have a good one.